What is going on, everybody? Welcome. It's Sunday, September 14th. We are looking at the Week 2 Sunday kickoff slate. We had our show on Wednesday where we went through pretty much most of our card and gave out our opinions. Let's see if anything's changed. And to do that, I got my guy Brad Thomas here with me. B-Money, what's up, baby?
Dude, man, what a sick week it was last week. And then the fact that we carried into Thursday and hit freaking Romeo Dobbs' first touchdown of the game, which made it sweat free, was really nice. Dude, I'm excited. We talked about this off air. I don't feel like I'm as confident as I was last week in sides and totals. So I probably will only have one teaser. I haven't taken any sides outside of a teaser.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting looks here. There's some good teaser legs, but I've historically been a big teaser better. I always, every week, every card I have, I'm always giving out a teaser. But just this year, in good conscience, I can't be giving out guys a teaser that you're paying $135 for. I don't feel good about it. I mean, ultimately, like if you really wanted it, there's some good looks I think we have here this week, but that's the one thing I've held back on. But ultimately, I feel like, I'm saying this a few hours before kickoff. Hopefully, it is reflected at the end of the day that I feel like I'm seeing the board really well this week. I feel like there's a lot of good looks here and a lot of the plays that we're about to discuss. Should be cashing in some winners, Brad.
Yeah, dude. That's all I want are winners, right? Like, I want to watch some good football, but I really just want winners.
Exactly. All right, buddy. So let's get started here. The Chicago Bears, 6.5 points. This was a Royal Mint spot midweek. It was 5.5. Now it's up to 6.5. A lot of money coming in on Detroit. What's your thoughts here on this game? Ben Johnson's return to Detroit. The Bears had a big letdown on Monday. The Lions were pretty much a no-show on Sunday against Green Bay. Which one of these teams do you think gets right?
Dude, I actually think the Lions get right in this game. Coming back 0-1 at home, I'm really excited for the Lions. But there were a couple things at play here that I thought was really interesting from the Chicago Bears. The Bears go out and they play Minnesota and look good for the first drive, maybe 2.5 drives. And then when things started getting off script, you started to see them struggle, especially Caleb Williams. His pass location was really brutal. I couldn't believe how bad his pass location was. I think what really caused that was early in the game, he had success on off-balance plays where he was either scrambling and throwing the ball or scrambling getting first downs, got his confidence a little bit higher. He forgot his mechanics. It doesn't matter. The transition from being a Caleb Williams in high school, then college, who wins the Heisman Trophy, to being in the pros is you can get away with being the superstar with bad mechanics because you're just that much better than everyone. In the NFL, you always have to stick with good mechanics. Also, really concerning, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter by J.J. McCarthy against the Bears. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to give the Lions a little bit of a break in this game because they did play what now looks like the best defense in the NFL in the Green Bay Packers in week 1. I took Jared Goff over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Minus 110. It's not like the most sexy play here, but I just felt there were ample opportunities for the Vikings to score, especially over the top. J.J. McCarthy was too afraid to pass it. And the Bears, and I will say this is one good thing, the Bears' run defense did look improved from last year. It was one of the worst in the NFL last season. Looked really good in week 1.
We talked about this on Wednesday night when we did the preview show. I got to be honest, dude. I don't know. I don't know about the Lions this year. And, I had them as a regression team coming in. And you say, well, they won 15 games last year. Obviously they're going to regress. Yeah, but I'm not even saying in just terms of winning. In terms of how they look. In terms of their swagger. Like last year, bro, you faced the Detroit Lions. You knew you were in for a war. Like you knew you were going to have to probably put up 30 points in order to have a chance to win. I don't know if that team's the same this year. And maybe it is later on down the line. But the fact is, and I kept circling back to this in the weeks leading up to the season on our show. when you lose, not just an offensive coordinator, when you lose somebody that's had such a great impact and somebody that was such a game changer for you, even when you keep the same group of guys and say you keep pretty much the same playbook with the same reads and the same packages and the same audibles, all that stuff, it's not the same thing because you don't have your guy there with his finger on the pulse that's able to make in-game adjustments and see things in real time. Now, obviously, that was apparent in Week 1 against Green Bay, which is why I was all over the Packers.
Yep.
And I think it's still not going to resolve itself after 1 week. We're not going to be like, oh, well, the Lions went in, they got their ass beat, they didn't look good on offense, but week 2, they're going to turn it around. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think it's going to take a little while for them to really start gelling. Maybe they get away with it here in week 2. Obviously, Vegas thinks they should win this game. Certainly wouldn't be surprised. And I understand the logic of the Bears because don't forget, I took the Vikings on Monday night against Chicago because I wasn't sold right away that the Bears were this popular, sexy pick that's going to come out the gate. Like, I still think Chicago is going to have a good year, but again, like, it could take some time. Everybody's got to gel. And I think Caleb Williams, as talented as he is, he's got some things he needs to work on. Definitely the mechanics. He had a lot of bad habits in college that he was able to get away with playing in the Pac-12. And, he was pretty much always been the best every time he steps out on the field. And now in the NFL, it's a different story. In a divisional game here where these two teams, especially Chicago, has historically played Detroit well, at least one of 2 games in their slate. I think this is a lot of points here. Listen, maybe the Lions get this one done. They cover, they win. But I feel like the Bears are in for a bounce back in week 2. They have enough weapons in order to make Chicago or make Detroit a little uncomfortable here. I could see this game playing out something along the lines of like 27-21, maybe 28-24, in that neighborhood there. Because I just don't know if I'm convinced enough that the Detroit Lions are going to come out here after putting up 13 in Green Bay week 1 and then just all of a sudden putting up a 30 being in a blowout against a divisional opponent that has a lot of talent but is still figuring it out.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's just talk about this real quick. I wonder if there's going to be anybody betting Isaac Slaw to score a touchdown at plus 500.
Tesla? Isaac Tesla?
Yeah. He scored last week, and then they said they're going to get him in the game more. I drafted him in a few leagues because I just felt like he could be this year's like gem late in the season, right? Where you're around playoff time and you're like, how does this Isaac Slaw, I don't even know how to pronounce it right, gets it correct,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm
No, I like it. It's definitely a long shot I'm looking at.
0.2 units. No, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, throw like a little pizza money play on it. I'll be honest, prop wise, I don't have a ton on this, only because it's 2 teams that I'm still not sure what they are yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they still could be in this. They're still, in my opinion, in this transition period where they're trying to figure out their identity and trying to get into a groove here. Now, obviously, somebody like Jahmyr Gibbs, I always love to bet, but it really didn't look good against Green Bay. And I mean, for the most part, Minnesota had some issues on the ground, for the most part on Monday night. And maybe that carries over here. So I'm probably staying away from the props in this game. Nothing really stands out to me, not even the touchdown props.
Yeah, the the touchdown props aren't really greatly priced, right? Like Monty and Gibbs are both minus 114. Amon-Ra's plus 120. Didn't have enough confidence in anybody on the Bears, like standalone to take. Maybe Zacchaeus at plus 400, but
I've seen that circulating the Twitter sphere that a couple people are looking at him.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, honestly, if I'm looking at anybody, I'd probably take a shot on DJ Moore and or Roma Dunze. Both are 2-1 or bigger. DJ Moore had a touchdown against the Lions last year. I mean, he's an alpha dog out there. Roma Dunze is really, it feels like even from last year, him and Caleb really started making a nice connection. So I feel like it's a really good shot that one of those 2 get in the end zone today.
I will say this. I liked, I don't know what the number is now. I liked Rome over 3.5 receptions. What is it at now? See if it moved. Oh, it's minus 185 now. Yeah, that's, I mean, right now, you know, that stuff's getting stepped on, but I thought that was a really good price early in the week at minus 115.
Yeah, I mean, Rome Daddy's building a nice connection there with Caleb, so I think his role in the offense is going to be more and more involved. All right, next game we got Cleveland, Baltimore. Line started out at 13.5. There are some 12.5 still out there. Now it's down to 11.5. Brad, think the Ravens are going to come back with a vengeance here and smack Cleveland?
Ah, man, I do, but do I want to go and be actively betting in this game? No. I was hoping to get this bet in before the show started. I have a little nugget in this game that I really like, but I didn't
Tell
actually
us.
get the bet in yet. I like Dylan Sampson over 2.5 receptions.
Okay.
While the target, I mean, while the snap split wasn't favorable to Sampson, right? He only had a 43% snap share. He was there on the passing downs more than he was on the running downs, vice versa with Jerome Ford. But the target share is what we really need to talk about. It looked like when they were doing any kind of designed halfback screen or anything where the halfback was going out into the flats, it was Dylan Sampson. 8 targets in game 1 to Jerome Ford's 1. I thought over 2.5, over 1.5 is ideally where you want to be, but with the Ravens, who kind of struggle in the secondary but get a good pass rush, I feel like he could get open a few times, and then they'll have at least one design for him. So that's 3 receptions right there.
Interesting. Divisional game. It's a big number. I feel like, with a lot
Big
of the
number
money
for a
coming
divisional
in and
game.
moving Cleveland down. I'm not dying on a hill. I'm not dying on the hill with this. I'm not betting this spread wise. I would lean Ravens laying the number. I mean, the Browns were in a position to win that game last week. And we know
Yep.
Cincinnati's not good in week 1 historically. It's just one of the weird anomalies in the NFL. But these two teams pretty much play each other pretty well. Although I would say at the end of last season, and granted it's 2 different teams, different quarterbacks, the Browns ended up losing 35-10. And, I'm not using that for any sort of handicap. It's just I think the Ravens come out after just a meltdown last week. Grant Delpit, the safety of the Browns, called out Derrick Henry, said he's not hard to tackle. I mean, maybe some
idiot.
maybe some Henry ladders here. Henry get in the end zone at north of minus. I think Henry's like minus 200 to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what I did with this, I threw the Ravens in a money line parlay. 3 big favorites I threw in just for the hell of it. 2-unit play. Plus 109. I'll give that out later in the show. But I like the Ravens here. I like Henry props. I think he's going to get over yards. I think he's going to get a touchdown. And ultimately, I think the Ravens are going to end up pulling away in the second half. I could see this being a closer game in the first half. Maybe Baltimore goes into half with the lead at maybe like 7 points or something like that. But then Henry and Lamar on the ground, they're going to wear them out. And by the time the fourth quarter,
right?
Yeah,
to handle those 2 all game.
It's got to be a nightmare. I mean, it's got to be. It's funny. I saw a tweet when the Ravens were up, 2 touchdowns against Buffalo, and Baltimore and Lamar and Henry were just doing their thing, interchanging. I saw a tweet was like, when these 2 are clicking, it's a wonder, how do they lose?
Yeah.
And you really wondered, like, how did they lose? Because it's like, okay, you have Henry just hitting you in the mouth, ripping off 75-yard runs, and then you converge on him, Lamar pulls it out, and then he's going to make you miss. Or they completely fake the run, everybody converges, and then you got Zay Flowers one-on-one. You don't have any alpha receiver ones on Baltimore, but you have a bunch of speedy, fast guys that create separation. And then because of the way you have to defend Lamar playing quarterback, and you always have to account for the run, it changes the way you have to play coverage. And then that leaves a lot of voids open for the receivers that have insane amounts of separation. And it's just, how do they lose when everything's clicking on offense? It doesn't make any sense. It's the most bizarre thing ever that this team loses when they're putting up that kind of effort on offense. Now, granted, like you put up a 40 bean in Buffalo, like you should win that game. You should win that game 100 out of 100.
I don't even want to see what the post game win expectancy of that game was. It had to have been like
It was 99.9, I think.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was insane. I mean, live bet on Buffalo. I was thinking about playing that. I think at the time they were like plus 400. They might have been down 7. And
oh my God, it was 99.1 post game win expectancy.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But yeah, I like Henry today. I think Henry's going to play with the vengeance. Not to mention, dude, he had the game turning fumble. Like somebody like Henry, first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, that, he's ready to chomp at the bit. So that's where I would be looking. I do have Henry in a couple things today. All right. Rams at the Tennessee Titans laying 5.5. Brad, I'm going to start this one. I'm Titans all day. I faded the Rams week 1. And again, if you told me the Texans defense was going to hold the Rams offense to 14 points, I would have said they not only covered the 3, but they went outright.
Yep.
But now we're looking at what the Titans did in week 1. They played a really good game overall. Cam Ward's debut in toughest place to play in the NFL with the altitude in Denver against arguably the best defense in the NFL. He played a good game. His box score won't suggest it, but if you watched him, he looked good. He made a couple mistakes, sure. I mean, it's his debut. But there was a lot of drop passes that could have turned that game. Their defense was amazing. Jeffrey Simmons was all over the place. And now they're coming back at home. And you know my feeling on the Titans this year, Brad. I am high on Tennessee. I think they're going to be about a 9-win team and maybe sneak a playoff spot. And I like the Rams, but I still think the Rams roster is top heavy. Absolutely, they can go in there cross country and pick up where they left off last week and get the win and get the cover. But 5.5 at home with an upstart Tennessee team that I think people are still down on. I think, honestly, Tennessee losing last week and Cam Ward box score wise not looking good. I think it did us a favor this week because Tennessee's being a little bit discounted. And I think we're in a good buy low spot here. Now, I would say I think there's been some action that's kept this because this has been 5.5 all week, Brad. I don't think this has touched 6, which means that there might be some sharper people on Tennessee. Where, in all fairness, I've seen one line where it's down to 4.5. Where like this could be sort of how it was with Cleveland, Cincinnati last week, where it seemed like everybody was on Cincinnati, but we were on Cleveland. We knew that was the sharp side, and then Cleveland closed 4.5 before kickoff. I could see that sort of sentiment happening here with Tennessee here. Give me the Titans 5.5.
What I think is happening in this game. So this line opened up at 4.5, then immediately got bet up to 5.5. Now it's coming back down. I think people were just so, I would consider us the sharp bettors, were so focused on Cam Ward playing the best defense in the NFL that they thought Rams are going to be easy, right? It's going to be an easy win. Then they ran a bet the Rams. Now the sharps are coming in and they're saying it's a lot of points. It's a lot of points for a Rams team that outside of their defense is not all that good. I'm staying away here. I actually don't even think I have a player prop in this one. This is a total stay away from me.
Yeah, I don't have a prop either. Well, I did actually. I gave out a prop. I had Kyron under 77.5 yards rushing. I think that came down. I think Kyron, I think 74.5 might be where I cut it off. I probably wouldn't go any lower than that. We got a really good CLV last week with 70.5, and it got down to 66.5, and it finished right there. So like that 3 or 4 yards makes a difference. I think Kyron's probably in line for another 18 to 22 carry game today. Ultimately here, I think because Denver, Tennessee's defense played well last week against the run.
Yeah.
When you look in the box score, you'd be like, wow, what do you mean? They rushed 5 yards carry, 30 carries for $150, something like that. The RJ Harvey 50-yard run completely changed the averages. Without that run, they weren't doing anything. I mean, Kyron has a lot of inefficiencies in his game. There's a lot of times where he's like those garbage 20 carry, 70-yard performances.
Yeah.
And he's all volume. Jeffrey Simmons, if he plays the way he did last week, I think him staying under 75 yards is definitely feasible.
I like it.
Bills at the Jets. Is this a Bills letdown spot coming off such an emotional win?
It feels like a Bills letdown spot, but I was hoping for a 6.5 at the open, not 5.5. Excuse me, I'm gonna have to sneeze in a second. But here, take it away, and I'll give my thoughts.
I don't have a strong opinion here. I like the Bills money line. That's part of the Ravens with the Ravens and the Bills. This has come down a little bit. There's even 5.5s now. I'm not super. I don't have like a super strong opinion on this, Brad. I think I would probably put the Jets at a very slight advantage with the 6.5 at home. Very slight. I like the Bills money line in the teaser, but I'm more into like Justin Fields with the rush yards. I think Fields is going to have a day on the ground again. I think Breece Hall getting in the end zone solid, but I would lean slightly Jets here, but I got the Bills in a money line. I'm not super strong on it because the Bills. I think the Bills defense, like what Baltimore did to them, I don't think it's a fluke. I don't think it's just because they played the Ravens that they looked bad. I think there's a lot of issues in the secondary for Buffalo's defense, and Justin Fields looked really good. And I think if that kind of picks up the way it did against Pittsburgh last week, the Jets are live in this game.
Jets are live. I went with the player prop in this game. I was going to do rushing attempts. That number looked a little bit too high for me. I think it was like 8.5 or 9. I think it was 9.5 and juiced for Justin Fields. I went with over 41.5 rushing yards for Justin Fields, much like Lamar Jackson. The same script for Lamar Jackson, where the Bills play a lot of man in passing downs, a lot of man, especially with they'll do some D-line stunts or bring pressure. If that happens, right, the running lanes for Justin Fields are there. I just thought 41.5 on MGM was just way too low for the exact same thing. I also want to talk about Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a funny number. Breece Hall's number is up to 60.5. They're committed to the run. I have him projected around 14, maybe 15.5 carries. The Bills aren't a great run defense, but even if I project them around 3.6 yards per carry, that puts them closer to 50 yards than it does to 61. So Breece Hall should be an under. I'm not personally taking it. But I do think if you're taking Breece Hall over, just hold your nose.
Yeah, I think maybe Breece Hall to get in the end zone is pretty solid. It's going to be, I mean, honestly, you could even say the same thing about Fields. Fields is plus 154. Any of the Jets, I mean, Braylon Allen 215 is not bad. I think at some point Braylon Allen's going to start getting more touches. So there's some pretty good stuff going on here. Anything with Keon Coleman plus 260 to get in the end zone. Looks like he might have finally found his groove here with the Bills.
Yeah, I don't mind Keon Coleman to get in the end zone. I'm kind of like been gone back and forth on what I want to do with Coleman. It looks like and even at a camp, the talk was how well Coleman was playing, right? How he's kind of becoming an integral part of this passing attack. He hit last week. He hit his over. Do I want to go back to the well? Haven't quite decided there. I may be a pass on Coleman. I may bet him.
Okay, and then we have Dallas Giants. This was a 5.5. It's come down to 4.5. Money's coming in on the Giants. I mean, I get it. It's divisional, but dude, now look, the Washington defense and the Dallas defense are two separate things. And, listen, take Commanders defense with a grain of salt, what they did against Green Bay. But I think we were both in agreement. The Commanders didn't really play that well. Final score wasn't really indicative of how close the game was. And the Giants not only should have covered, but they probably had a really good chance to win. I mean, I understand it, but I'd probably prefer Dallas here. Extra rest. And Russell Wilson just sucks, dude. That guy's awful. The only way I think the Giants win this game is if somehow they're playing a close game through the first half, but Wilson's so bad that Brian Daboll literally elects to go with any other quarterback on his roster, whether that's J-Mo or Dart. Russell Wilson, I can't buy. He sucks. He stinks. But
really,
I ended up putting Dallas in with Buffalo and Baltimore. Plus 109 money line parlay, 2 units for me. I feel like that's a strong play. I know the parlays are sucker plays, but I can't help it. Sometimes I am a sucker with the parlays, and but I think I'd probably lean Dallas, although I'm not. It's not like a super strong feeling for me. I like Dallas in a money line parlay. I love Lamb today. I think Lamb's yards are good. I think he's a candidate to get a Hundy piece. I think he's a good shot to get in the end zone. So I'm on the CD Lamb props. I mean, look, he had a good game against Philadelphia, but he had 4 drops. So
Yeah.
120 yards he had realistically could have been closer to like 170 had he
Yep.
had he made all those catches and a touchdown. So I think Lamb, despite the good stat line, knows like he needs to play better. And I think he's going to come out on fire as well. And the big thing in comparison to the years past between the Giants and the Cowboys, now you have George Pickens. George Pickens is enough of a problem to where the Giants can't solely focus on Lamb and leave Pickens one-on-one. Because if they do that, he will destroy them in these 50-50 balls. And he's a sick athlete that he can run by pretty much 90% of corners. So I feel like Lamb's in line for a big game, another 15 target type of day for CB.
I'm going to be heavy on the Cowboys today, and I haven't got quite to the -5.5 yet, but I did parlay them twice. I actually did a teaser. I did a teaser in the first one with the Detroit Lions. It gets the Lions at the money line, but it gets that Cowboys the +0.5, which is always important if it's the exact same price in case there's a tie. You get a little bit extra protection there. I also taken them with the Cardinals at -120 as well. I just feel like even if the Giants were a competitive team on paper against the G-Men, I genuinely believe this G-Men team is not going to give 100% effort until they start Jackson Dart. The disappointment on the player's face when Russell Wilson makes mistakes is there. He's a hard guy when he's not winning to get along with because of his personality. And I don't know personally.
Bro, even winning. Like, I mean, listen, it's not really, I mean, it's something completely separate, but, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
I mean, bro, like you even heard Marshawn Lynch. Like everybody loves Marshawn Lynch. He even said he had no relationship with Russell Wilson. Like there was time, like during the years in Seattle where they were dominant, where he would like try to call him and he had to like go through somebody to call him. And then like he wasn't trying to have like totally odd behavior that like some of Russell Wilson's former teammates in Seattle were like, yeah, this dude's sketch.
Yeah. Also want to bring up this Dak 30-12 against the spread in divisional games. I thought that was pretty compelling there. I'm on Dallas. I just don't think this team comes out and fires at all cylinders.
You might have sold me here on taking Dallas with the points. All right. San Francisco, New Orleans. Brock Purdy is out. Big Dick Kittle, George Kittle, he's out. It is the McCaffrey show with Mac Jones under center at New Orleans. Cross-country travel. This line came down from 6.5 to 3. Brad, do you have anything in this, or is this just a complete stay away?
This is a complete stay away. I think if you want to get into this, you take McCaffrey at some kind of way, like maybe McCaffrey over 4.5 receptions, maybe McCaffrey over 117 rushing and receiving. They're going to put every penny or every investment into McCaffrey. No Kittle. Ayuk obviously out. Jennings banged up. They're going to ride him. Or they're going to punt this game, which I'm not entirely sure which one. So I didn't bet anything because they could realistically punt this game. And no one's going to say that they're punting this game, right? But their game plan is going to be so vanilla because they're just going to try to keep McCaffrey in a bubble wrap. They lose this game. They picked up a win last week that they probably shouldn't have. 1-1's not the worst thing with how easy your schedule is.
Yeah. A complete stay away. I don't have any props. I will say this, though. Mac Jones obviously isn't a starting quarterback in the NFL. You washed out of New England, and now he's getting a shot here. But I still think roster-wise, San Francisco's got a good enough roster construction they can get this done. But I will say the weapons with the receivers, it's kind of it's an issue. I mean, all you have is Ricky Pearsall. And now what kind of connection does he have with Jones? And then I don't even know who they're going to be trotting out as their two, because I don't think Jennings is going to play. Kittle's out. So it's probably going to be a lot of McCaffrey. That's probably the only way really to get involved, in my opinion, is with some CMC props. I think the 4.5 catches is a good look. But other than that, I don't really have much in this game.
Yeah, I forgot. I wanted to add this. I forgot to post this. To say this. In the Dallas game, I did take Javonte Williams over rushing attempts.
Okay. I like it.
I got burned last week. With taking yards for all these guys. I'm going to try to switch it up and take attempts for some guys.
Another game I don't have much on, New England and Miami. This line was 1.5. It's out to 2.5. Don't know what everybody's seeing on Miami. Brad, we talked about this. We talked about this on Wednesday. I think the Dolphins are a train wreck, and it's not off talent. And the reason why I took the Colts in week 1 against Miami was not because talent. I think if the Dolphins decide to play, they can be pretty good. I think if they're like, hey, we really want to come out here and win, they can do it. But you can't quantify effort level. And that's why I faded them in week 1. I don't know if the effort level is going to be much better in week 2. I mean, yeah, you're at home. But New England, I think they were like the really like trendy pick to be sort of that upstart team in the AFC. And I get it. Like, I still think they could be pretty solid this year, but they didn't look impressive at all against the Raiders. They were at a huge travel advantage with the Raiders coming across country to Foxborough last week. And they relatively were flat. Drake May didn't look really that impressive. It's a stay away for me. The only thing that I give Miami the advantage here is the weather. We're both in South Florida. It's going to be 90 plus today. I think we're going to see some rain at some point. The humidity is brutal. We've seen teams historically come down to Miami in September, and the heat and humidity kills them, especially in the fourth quarter. That's the only true advantage I think Miami has, because otherwise I just don't know if they're going to show up. Yeah. I don't have a real strong opinion on this game. I think just based on what we saw last week, I think New England getting the points is the way I'd lean here. But honestly, it's not really anything special. I think maybe even an under looks good at 43.5. I think this could be something like a 2017 game, 17-14.
Yeah, the weather's not bad in this game either. 85 degrees. Could be late rain, but very minimal chance. Like, it'll be drizzle if anything. I don't know what effort we see from Miami. This is like, it's crazy. We're only in week 2, right? But doesn't it already feel like a do or die? Like it's do or die, because this could be the end of the road for McDaniel. I did have a play in this. I had Travion Henderson over 33.5 rush yards. They said he was going to get more run, get more rope. I feel like he's just too dynamic not to put the ball in his hands. Yeah. I'm actually not doing receiving because that just feels so obvious, right? The NFL is not that easy where you just say, oh, he's going to be getting more rope. That actually means we're going to be passing the ball to him more. No, I think he's going to get more carries. 33.5 was a really nice number.
Yeah, I think that's a solid look. I feel cheated because I couldn't find any books that were offering first coach fired. I'm sure there was like some other ancillary books that I wasn't checking possibly. Because remember, I told you coming into the year, I think he's going to be the first coach fired.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably going to be a good race between him and Dable, but I feel cheated because I thought McDaniel was going to be a good bet. And I mean, he was probably towards the top of the board if there was a market. But I think, look, if Miami comes out flat again, which is a very real possibility, things are starting to look really bleak at 0-2 because then they got to go to Buffalo next week. That's probably 0-3.
Yeah,
I think you probably pull the plug. So yeah, this is a complete stay away for me.
Yeah, dude, I don't want to take a side or a total. Forget this game. So many better games.
All right. So Jacksonville at Cincy, 3.5. This line has held firm all week, as has the total at 49.5. Brad, on paper, I would be fine laying the Bengals 3.5. I think Jacksonville is a big sell high spot right now.
Yep.
I think they beat the shit out of Carolina, and everybody's like, "Oh, Liam Cohen, they figured it out." Like, bro, Travis Etienne is not running for $143 every game. Do you know how
Correct.
bad you have to be to let Travis Etienne at this juncture be running for $140? I mean, the pass game didn't look great either. I mean, Brenton Strange looked good. I think that's for real this year. I think Brenton Strange, a tight end for Jacksonville, is for real this year. The only hesitancy I have is Cincinnati with this early season woes. I mean, look, ultimately, I think there's going to be some props in this game. I think Chase Brown, I like his overs. I like him to get in the end zone. I like Jamar Chase. I think he's a ladder play, him to get in the end zone. Maybe they kind of feel like after last week, they got lucky to walk out of Cleveland with the win. They decide to turn it around, but I don't feel like anything here Cincinnati has given me is confidence enough to bet 3.5, even at home against Jacksonville. I feel like also this could be like, how do I say it? This could be a game which, by the way, has the highest total of the weekend, where everybody's like, "Oh, this is going to be a shootout."
Yeah.
I feel like this is a fake shootout. I feel like everybody's expecting this to be like a 30-27 type of game, and it ends up being like 23-20. I think the under would probably be the way. If we're going sides or totals, I think the under 49.5 is probably where I'd be looking. But like I said, I think Brian Thomas gets in the end zone today. I like his over yards. I like Jamar Chase over yards. I like Chase Brown overs. I think
I like Trevor Lawrence under 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think people just believe that this game's going to be this massive shootout, and Trevor Lawrence is, now that he has the guru calling plays, letdown spot for me. Bengals also at home opener, but I'm going with Jamar Chase over 100, over 99.5 yards. I'm taking him touchdown, taking him 83. Jamar Chase was quiet in game one. Jamar Chase is the kind of guy that it's not like when AJ Brown situation where AJ Brown goes ghost in game one and they make a concerted effort to get him the ball, which I do think they will, right? I do think the Eagles will do that, but the Bengals don't have to change their game plan to get Jamar Chase the ball because Jamar Chase is their game plan. They win games with Jamar Chase as opposed to the Eagles. The Eagles can win the games with Jalen Hurts, can win the game with Saquon, can win the game with Devonta Smith. Their game plan is not focused around AJ Brown. This is a freaking bad Jags secondary. Tet should have had 100+ yards in that game. Bryce missed some passes. That's not going to happen with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase feasts. I probably would take Jamar Chase to have the most receiving yards this week. Jamar Chase is going to have a massive game.
Simply put, the Bengals offense runs through Jamar Chase.
Yep.
It's very hard for the Bengals to win, and Jamar Chase doesn't do anything. They got away with it last weekend. That's not their formula for success. I think it's going to be a much better week. Jacksonville secondary was toast last year. They really didn't play as well as they might have looked on paper. Like Ted McMillan, like we said, Ted McMillan looked really good last week. He was just mossing guys. He was big bodying them. He was big broing them. This guy could have had over 100 easy if Bryce Young could have hit him. Jamar Chase, bro, is matchup proof. This is a guy I think is going to have a big one. I think if we're taking one guy to really go off in this game, it's going to be Jamar Chase. But like I said, Chase 100 yards, tutty. I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting combination. But somehow I still think this game is going to end up being under. Now, maybe like we're going to go back here tonight and look at this, be like, well, what is this? What is this moron talking about? He really took the under in this game. It's not official, but that's where I would go in this game. I mean, this is a game I'd probably like to sit back and enjoy. But if I was playing anything in this game from a side or total perspective, it would be the under 49.5. I think this is a fake over, like a fake shootout where everyone's like, yeah, this is gonna be one of those high flying 30-27 type games, and it ends up being a big letdown. A couple turnovers in the red zone, field goal settling instead of getting the touchdowns. Those are friends to the under. All right, Brad, start me off here. Seattle getting 3 at Pittsburgh, traveling cross country. Is Pittsburgh in for a letdown spot?
Pittsburgh had the letdown spot. What's funny is I think money was coming out on money's coming in on the Steelers? No, money's coming in on the Steelers. I thought the Seahawks were a great teaser option at 6.5. I just feel like the Seahawks can win this one outright. We talked about this in the Wednesday show. Even though Aaron Rodgers threw 4 tutties, he had one of the worst PFF grades. It wasn't efficient football from Aaron Rodgers. I think it's a letdown spot, man. That was a lot of emotion. They won that game for Mr. Rodgers.
Yeah. Look, I think I was on Seattle all week. I was high on them last week. They had 10 different chances to win that game. They gave that game to San Francisco. Nobody really looked that good outside of JSN. I like Seattle, even in a tough travel spot, letdown spot for Pittsburgh, bounce back spot for Seattle. 3 points. I'm going to take the 3, but I think Seattle is going to win outright. And also, like every week, I'm going to be doing because Brad, who is the guy I had to lead the league in catches preseason?
JSN
at 20-1. JSN had a very, very good start to the season in week 1. I took us over 5.5 catches today. I gave it out. It was minus 135, 136. And we're just talking FanDuel. It's all the way up to minus 164 at 5.5. This is probably going to hit 6.5 before kickoff. This is a 1 o'clock start. But I like Seattle. I like them to win, cover, JSN, 6+ catches.
Yep, like that.
All right, we're into the 4 o'clock window here. Denver Broncos, 2.5 point favorite at Indianapolis. Indianapolis, letdown spot. Denver, bounce back spot.
Letdown spot, big time. Like, I feel like this is one of those scenarios where we're like, we have to remember the Colts. The Colts played against a lifeless team. They beat a dead body, right? There was no fight whatsoever in that Dolphins team. This is a really good defense that Danny Dimes is going to have to go up against. I just don't think it's going to be as straightforward as as the Miami versus Colts game was. I think that we see whatever happens, right? Whatever, if it's high scoring, low scoring, which I think it's going to be low scoring, I think we see the Broncos come out on top. You're not going to have the Danny Dimes efficiency like you did there before. And my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when Danny Dimes is against this elite secondary?
Yeah, I've been on the Broncos all week. I said keep the points, dude. I'm going to take the money line here. I'm not going to get cute. I like Denver to win outright. I don't really have any props in this one. I like the Broncos here. I think the Broncos are in for a good season. Look, the fact is a good team did what Denver did last week.
Yeah.
Faced a young, hungry, upstart Titans team on the road that punched them in the mouth all game, and Denver hung tough. Like, there was a lot of opportunities Denver could have folded, and they hung tough, and they won an ugly game against a very scrappy opponent. That's how you know you're a good team. I think they're going to carry it over in week 2, even on the road. Like you said, I think Indy played a walking corpse.
Yep.
No fight, no effort. Looked like they wanted to mail it in after the first quarter. I think Indy's a solid team for sure, but I just think the Denver defense is such an equalizer that the offense has to be solid. I think realistically, if the offense can go out there and put up 21 points with the way Denver's defense is, I think they have a very good chance to win.
Yep, agreed.
All right, let's get to my favorite game of the week here. Carolina and Arizona. Cardinals, a 6.5 point home favorite against these Panthers that got beat. There have been some 7s I've seen popping up with this game, but you still can get some 6.5s. 44.5 point total. Brad, I'll make this easy for you. Arizona's my play of the week, minus 6.5. I was talking about that on Tuesday when I made my RotoWire against the spread video. Talk about that Wednesday. All week I was on Arizona. I love the Cardinals here, and I just think the Carolina Panthers are bad. And the thing is, Arizona plays so much better at home. Like, Arizona let New Orleans hang around last week. They probably should have won that game by 2 touchdowns. And instead, New Orleans had a shot typing in the final seconds, but Rattler missed a throw. I don't think they played particularly well. I don't think they played terrible, but I think they're going to come home and Jonathan Gannon's going to have his group right. I think 6.5 against Carolina, who's a pass funnel, a run funnel. The Panthers allowed 21 pass touchdowns on the road last year, which is tops worst in the league. Their run defense got gashed last week. I mean, if Arizona decides to show up and play, they could win this game by 20. Give me the Cardinals minus 6.5. Connor, I gave out, I think 60.5 or 59.5 at the beginning of the week. It's steamed. It's in some spots he's caught 10 yards. he's gone 10 yards higher.
That's crazy
on the line. But I still like the over. I think Connor's a play to 100 yards. I think he's a ladder spot. I think he's going to get in the end zone. I like Trey Benson. He's somewhere around 33, 34.5 yards.
Trey Benson just opened up so much higher than he did last week.
Yeah, he's an over. Like I feel like Arizona is going to put it on Carolina this week. I mean, if you're looking at anybody for Carolina, I think just because of the nature of what we could end up seeing in this game from game flow perspective, maybe if you want to go Tet McMillan over 60.5 yards, if they're playing from behind, or, maybe Hubbard over 13.5. He looked good out of the backfield, had a 30-yard touchdown, I think, out of the backfields, something like that. But other than that, man, I think it's one-way traffic, Arizona. I'm looking for a big blowout spot. This is definitely an anchor and a teaser leg, and I know this is going to be the most popular pick in Survivor this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a very popular pick. Non-divisional game, cross-country trip against a really bad team. That sounds like a Survivor gym, right? Everyone's going to want to be playing that. I'm on the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals minus 6.5. Like I said, I parlayed them with Dallas. I think that the props jumped a little too high for me to take anything, but I do like the side at least.
I mean, look, I don't like chasing the steam train on Connor, because the one worry is, if they're beating them so bad and then Trey Benson just gets the whole fourth quarter. That's really the concern. And I don't like chasing the steam train. I really don't. But I just feel like, and I was also very early to the lines this week. It's just unfortunate that I do my videos on Tuesday for RotoWire. I gave out the prop and it was 59.5, 60.5 on BetMGM. And then now in some spots, I think there's still like a 66.5 out there that I saw, but there are some spots that are 70.5. I don't like chasing that, but I think in certain matchups, I don't know how you don't take it.
Yeah.
All right. Philadelphia, Kansas City. For some reason, this is not a true primetime game. This is a game of the week. I don't really understand that. But I mean, Super Bowl rematch. Jalen Carter is going to play. I guess him pretty much sitting out all of week one was a suspension. I leaned Kansas City early in the week. I'm changing my pick. I like Philadelphia to win outright. Kansas City, I mean, you have Hollywood Brown. You only have Hollywood Brown right now and Travis Kelce. I mean, the running game is probably going to struggle with Carter back in the lineup. The pressure I think Philly's going to be able to get. I think this is Eagles for me, man.
Dude, yeah, this is probably Eagles for me, but I just don't understand like what this Chiefs game plan is going to be. I was on Juju live at 25.5 when Marquise got down. I just feel like it's going to be, people are going to go Hollywood. It's going to be Juju. It's going to be a little bit to Thornton, a couple shots to Thornton. I don't have a strong play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it would be Philly or pass for me.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City losing Xavier Worthy's big. I mean, they're just at some point they're going to run out of bodies.
Yeah.
I just feel like Philly's too physical for them right now.
Yep.
All right, Sunday Night Football, Atlanta at Minnesota 3.5. Is it me or is Atlanta probably one of the most trappiest public spots of the week?
Dude, I'm so sick of not knowing what to bet when it comes to this freaking Vikings team. It's week 2. I feel like my gut tells me that Atlanta cover, but then I'm just like, this Minnesota defense is like legit. And then JD McCarthy was dead to rights. 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I have a slight lead of just taking the points plus 3.5.
I do get a bit concerned. I think there's some key injuries for Minnesota. Van Ginkel's out.
Yeah.
Jeff Okudah's out. Darrisaw's out again. Harrison Smith's questionable. Some key injuries there for the Vikings. But I don't know, man. Like, I love Penix. I really do. I think Penix is going to be an MVP one day. I loved when Atlanta took him. Like, he's him, dude. He really is.
Talented.
He's insane. He's a dog too. He's not just talented. He's a dog. Like, he's a killer. He wants the ball when the game's on the line, and that's how you know you got your franchise quarterback. I don't know, man. I feel like Atlanta's defense, while they played well against Tampa Bay, who had some injuries on the O-line, they're a liability. I just feel like everybody thinks here's my thing. Everybody thinks this is a prime Atlanta, not only cover the 3.5, but win spot. And listen, maybe it is. Historically, Atlanta's always struggled against Minnesota. I don't know what it is, but I still think even with the injuries, the Vikings defense, their scheme where they're able to make stars out of these random guys like Andrew Van Ginkel. Before Brian Flores took over that defense, nobody knew who he was. He was like a substitute role player in Miami. I think McCarthy, the way he finished last week, he's got a lot of momentum.
Dude, huge.
I think Jettas is matchup proof. Hawkinson could have a good game here. And I feel like at home, Minnesota is going to get this done. I would lay the 3.5, but I think Minnesota wins outright. I don't have really many props in this game. If you want to take a shot, I think getting Jettas at plus money to score touchdowns is interesting. One of the reasons why I took Emeka Egbuka last week to score was because Atlanta allowed the most touchdowns to wide receivers last year, 22, and Egbuka went nuts. And obviously Jettas is the focal point, but he's unbelievable. This kid's matchup proof.
This game's going to be a lot of manufactured touches for Bijan. The Vikings' run defense is really freaking good. Yeah. So they're going to need to figure out how to get the ball in his hands more times than not, right? Bijan over 3.5 receptions is a bet that I will go to war with. Like,
I like it.
4 catches. He might have 4 catches in the first half.
Especially with Van Ginkel out. Van Ginkel is one of their linebackers that's able to really do a lot of interesting things. And it looked like in week 1, Brad, the Falcons are making concerted effort to get Bijan the ball by any means necessary.
Yep.
And Michael Penix was throwing a lot of those like little swing screens, a lot of these little choice routes, but really it was a combination of dump offs and swing passes to Bijan. And I think they're going to be getting him the ball a lot. And I mean, honestly, if you're feeling a little froggy here, I like the 3.5. I like your look there. Is there if there's a market for all catches?
Why don't let me see. Why don't I tease the Falcons with
maybe Bijan like 5 or 6 catches
with God. Who's not gonna be dead to rights with Seattle? That's 2 road teams. Arizona, that puts me at Arizona 1.5, so I need one more leg to get them at money line. Oh, man. Seattle, I guess. Let's see what that 9-point teaser brings me to. No, I can't do it because they're all under 10.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Atlanta probably plays a close game here, but ultimately, I think this is a Minnesota spot.
I think it's easy for me just to stay away outside of Bijan.
Yeah, maybe like let's see how the 1s and 4s go. Maybe I'll get in some action here late window if I have some extra scratch to play with. But yeah, Tampa Bay Houston is the first Monday night. Monday night's a big night for us. We got a double dipper. We got my boy Cade Horton, here's a who, dealing with Paul Skeens, 2 of the Trojan horses of the modern college era, squaring off on Monday night. I'll be honest, that's my first priority, Cade Horton, in his bid for NL Rookie of the Year. But Tampa Bay at Houston. Big fan of the Bucs this year. I had the Bucs as one of the teams that I like to win the NFC. At Houston's a tough matchup. The Houston defense is really good. No surprise. Their offense, I don't know what we're seeing. It's very much in shambles. I still like Tampa here. I think the wrong team's favored. I'm interested to see what's going on with Luke Gedeke on the line for Tampa. They're already without Wirfs, and that kind of caused some problems against Atlanta. And the Texans' defense is much better. But I like Tampa Bay Buccaneers to find a way to get a win in this one.
Yeah, I like the Bucs to figure out how to get a win here. That was a gutsy win on the road, divisional game. I know you play on the road again, but this Texans team didn't look all that great. They're not getting the push they want from their. Let me rephrase that. The combination of their offensive line with Nick Chubb being their primary running back is not good. Excuse me. Wow. I think that the Buccaneers will do what they do well. Vita Vea plug up the middle, and then it's going to be a reliant on their secondary. Secondary came up big enough against Atlanta.
Yeah. I think Tampa's the better team. Houston, the jury's out on Houston. It's been a regression for them. Like, yeah, they had 10 wins last year and won the South, but let's be honest. They haven't looked like the team that was there when Stroud won Rookie of the Year. It's just they don't have the same swagger. They're really missing that wide receiver too. Tank Dell being out kills them. They lose Diggs. Christian Kirk, no idea what's happening with him with the injury. It's Nico Collins, and that's really all they have. And I like Chubb. I think Chubb's solid. Woody Marks is the guy that I really want to see them start getting involved a little bit more. He only had 3 carries last week. I feel like they have to find a way to get Woody Marks at least 10 touches this week. But Tampa Bay, man, just is clicking. I just think they know who they are, Tampa. You know what I'm saying? Like, Tampa doesn't have an identity issue. They know what they do well. They know who they are. Whereas Houston, I still think, is trying to figure themselves out. Exactly. Their defense is keeping them in games, and that's the only reason why they have a chance to win. But Tampa knows exactly who they are, and I think that's a huge advantage. And even on the road, I don't agree with them being a 2.5-point dog. I would honestly probably make this a little bit more like a pick 'em, maybe Tampa -1.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Nightcap. Bolts -3 at the Raiders. I've seen a 3.5 pop up here. Brad, I think this is a Bolts or bust spot for me. I would lay the 3, but sort of like the Vikings, I think I'm just taking the money line. Long week. It's not much of a travel spot. I just think the Chargers defense looks too good. The Raiders didn't convince me enough last week. Still think they're a work in progress. Brock Bowers coming back from an injury. We don't even know what he looks like, if he's definitely ready to go. And if Herbert looks anything close to what he did in Brazil, it's a problem for the rest of the league.
Dude. Why is it only 3? I don't get why this is only 3. Letdown spot, I guess. I didn't think the Raiders were that freaking good, dude. I thought they should have gotten beat by, and this is someone who's holding the Pete Carroll ticket, FYI. So I'm not just saying it because I'm like jumping on the hot team. I like the -3, dude. I like the -3 on the road in Las Vegas. Ashton Jetty's going to have his games, but I just don't think this is going to be the one. This is a team that basically turned the Chiefs into a passing game. Patrick Mahomes was the leading rusher for the Chiefs.
Yeah. And the Chargers run defense, I think, should be able to bottle up Genty, like you said. And it's just once you take away the run game from the Raiders, then you're going to force Geno to drop back 35, 40 times. I just don't think that's a successful formula for them. Their defense is nothing special. I feel like the Chargers, this is a game that they should win and win by at least a touchdown, in my opinion.
Yep.
All right, Brad. We are officially done with
that was fun
going through all the games. Give me 3 of your best bets for the audience here.
Yeah, my best bet, absolute best bet, Jamar Chase over 83.5 receiving yards. My next one, Justin Fields over 41.5. And I know this is going to come as a surprise to a lot of people. Dylan Sampson over 2.5 receptions. I cannot ignore his target share and his snap share on passing downs against a good pass rush.
Yeah, you got to go outside the box sometimes because those guys aren't really all these other star players are getting steamed. You got to find value elsewhere. So I like that look there. I'm going to say mine are Arizona -6.5, my best play of the week. I love Seattle. And then if I'm throwing a prop in there, let's go JSN over 5.5 catches.
Yeah.
I think for them to win, he's got to eat. I have a loaded card, 10 plays. So let's try and get home at least 7 or 8 of them. Let's have a monster today. But everybody, really appreciate you tuning in, spending your Sunday morning with us. Best of luck this week. Brad, you are a true gem and a gentleman. Thank you so much for joining. Let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me on X at Mr. Brad Thomas, and you can find me on the old TikTok at Brad's Best.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend. Have a big time Sunday, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday evening when we preview week 3.